Nope. All right. I've just lost the agenda. First item on the agenda is the minutes of the last meeting. Does anybody have any questions or comments on the minutes? Okay, can we agree the minutes? Next item on the agenda is the Renfrew Local Partnership Update Report. Who's doing this? Stuart, Kerry?
And so it's Daniela Leonardi from You First Advocacy that's doing the presentation. Councillor Shaw, and I believe Kerry's going to move the slides for Daniela. Is that right, Kerry?
Item 2 on the agenda is the Local Partnership Update Report on my agenda. Stuart?
Oh, sorry. It's kind of dark here. I missed that one. Kerry, do you want to take this one?
Sure, yep, no problem. So the local partnership update paper, we've just went through the budget monitoring. So as you'll see, we've allocated all the funding, so there's no funding left available in the pot, and all the grants have been paid with the exception of Kirkconnect Community Centre and the Renfrew YMCA, and I've reached out to both of the organisations just to try and support them get their paperwork. And I think there's maybe been a changeover of maybe some signatories at the Kirkconnect Community Centre, so just trying to support them. And I think YMCA, there was just a bit of confusion with their paperwork. So they should all be, hopefully by the next meeting, we'll have them all paid. And then we've got the Celebrating Renfrewshire budget. So as we can see there, everybody has been paid from the Celebrating Renfrewshire Awards. Next there was a newsletter that went round. I don't know if everybody received it, but it was circulated to all the local partnership members. And it was a little bit of a spotlight about what was going on, some key dates, and there was a little bit about 2 projects in Renfrew. So one was the Summer of Fun for Moor Park, the Cherry Centre, that was operating in Knockhill. So the Friends of Knockhill Summer of Fun project, and then the other for Renfrew was the Young at Heart, I think it's called, which was Sally at Monkdyke House, and it was about getting older people to participate in arts and crafting and stuff like that. So it's in the newsletter. If anybody wants a copy of it, just drop a message to the community planning inbox and I'll send it across. But everybody should receive it. The next thing we have is just an update about the Sustainable Communities Fund. So we've done a little bit of across all the local partnerships, just talking about how much has been allocated across each local partnership area. And in Renfrew, there's only been £20,000 allocated, and that's 2 projects, each for £10,000. So one for custom cruisers, for a project called Community Recycling, and another for Renfrew Town Sea Scouts for £10,000 for a renovation project. So I think that this is maybe a good opportunity to highlight that Sustainable Communities Fund is there for Renfrew projects. And if there's anybody who wants to take up our conversation, then let us know and we can link in with the right officers. And I think that might be me for the local partnership update. We do have the Winter Connections awards, but they've just been awarded, so we didn't have the information to share with you at this point, but by the next meeting we will have that there. Okay. Any questions?
Thanks, Kerry. I spoke to the chair at Killinwood Community Centre Monday, I think it was, and she'd said there'd been some changes in the committee, so that was the reason, but they're endeavouring to get it in as quickly as possible. Okay, anybody get any questions or comments on the report? Nope. Okay, next up we've got a presentation from Daniela Leonardi from You First Advocacy. Did somebody say there were slides there?
Daniela, do you want to try and share your presentation, Daniela, first? And if it doesn't work, then I'm happy to share it for you.
I think because my computer has been a bit laggy today, it will probably work best if you share them, if that's all right.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Is it working, Kerry?
No, it's not. Give me a wee second. I'm just going to. I think it's because it's in a PDF and it's struggling to do it. Karen, is there any chance you could try and do it? See if it works better for you.
Yeah, I'll do that just now then, Kerry.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Maybe a second. Just remember how to share my screen. Yeah, I think I'm maybe a page. Right. Okay, can everybody see that okay?
Yep.
And Danella, if you just let me know, I'm happy to move on the presentation.
Thank you so much. That's great. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Danila Leonardi, and I'm the Engagement and Development Officer at eFirst Advocacy. I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes or so talking about advocacy, what it means, why it matters, and how our work helps people have their voices heard. Advocacy touches all of us at some point, whether personally or through someone we know. It's about fairness, dignity, and empowerment. And I hope that by the end of this talk, you'll have a clearer sense of how it can make a real difference in people's lives. Next slide, please. So, what exactly is advocacy? At its heart, advocacy means speaking up or taking action to support or defend someone or something. It's about standing up for people's rights, their needs, and their interests, especially when they might not be able to do that on their own. Advocacy helps people find their voice, particularly in situations where they might feel ignored or powerless. It ensures that people's experiences and opinion are genuinely heard rather than dismissed or overlooked. It's not about taking over or making decisions for someone. It's about supporting them to make their own choices and have control over their own lives. Next slide, please. An advocate, then, is someone who listens deeply and without judgment. It's someone who takes time to understand a person's situation, to explain their rights, and to help them express what they want and need. Sometimes that means speaking directly to services or attending meetings to make sure the person's perspective is represented. Other times, it's simply about standing beside them, providing reassurance and clarity in what can often be a confusing process. The key thing about advocacy is that it centers the person's own voice. The advocate isn't there to give advice or to try and persuade them. They're there simply to amplify a person's voice, to make sure that the person's own views are clearly heard and respected. You can think of an advocate as a bridge, someone who helps connect people to systems and services that affect them, making sure they aren't left behind or spoken over. Next slide, please. Advocacy, but why is advocacy necessary? Advocacy is necessary because, sadly, many people don't always get the understanding or respect they deserve from the services that are meant to support them. They might be misunderstood, ignored, or even treated unfairly. Some people lack the confidence to speak up, perhaps because of negative past experiences or fear of not being taken seriously. Others might not be fully aware of their rights or what options are available to them. And when someone is dealing with something stressful, such as housing issues, mental health challenges, or financial worries, it can be incredibly difficult to navigate complex systems alone. Advocacy helps bridge that gap. It ensures that people are listened to, treated with dignity, and empowered to make informed decisions about their own lives. It gives people a fair chance to be heard, and that can be life-changing. Next slide, please. So one of the most important things you first advocacy is that we're an independent advocacy service. But what does independent advocacy mean? Independent advocacy means we're not employed by organizations that provide care, housing, or social services, and therefore we work completely separately from those agencies. That independence is key as it allows us to challenge decisions and ask questions openly without fear of repercussions. It also means that we have no agenda. We're not there to make decisions for people or to tell them what to do. Our only responsibility is to the person we support. We follow their lead, their choices, and their wishes. This independence is what makes advocacy such a powerful tool for fairness and accountability. Next slide, please. So, who is it that we can help? These are some of the criteria that people could fall into to be helped by us. So, first advocacy, we work with older adults, age 60 and over, people with physical or learning disabilities, people with mental health issues, parent carers, and people who are affected by addiction issues. We are an issue-based service who help clients who come from all sorts of backgrounds, one problem at a time. Next slide, please. So what is it that we can help people with? The issues that we deal with are incredibly varied. We can help people with benefits, housing, and debt, but also with things like hospital care, community care, financial crises, and mental health concerns. We also support people through complaint processes, cases involving abuse or safeguarding, and issues around employment or guardianship. No two situations are ever the same, but in each case, their underlying goal is to make the person's voice heard and make sure that they're treated fairly. And advocacy can touch almost every area of life. Anywhere that power of communication becomes unbalanced, an advocate can make a difference. Next slide, please. In order to understand better what advocacy is, it's also important to understand what advocacy isn't. So advocacy isn't counseling, care work, or legal representations. We're also not an advisory service, so we don't tell people what to do, and we're also not a befriending service, although building trust and understanding is a big part of our work. The focus of advocacy is always empowerment. Our role is to support people to express their own views, to understand their options, and to have the confidence to take part in decisions that affect them. Next slide, please. So, how can you access our service? You can access our free service through referrals. People can refer themselves, or someone else, like a friend, a family member, or a professional, can do it on their behalf. Referrals can be made online through our website, by email, or by giving us a call. Once we receive a referral, one of our team members will get in touch to discuss what kind of support might be most useful and arrange an appointment. And if we're not able to help someone, we just signpost them to a service that can actually help them sort their issue out. We aim to make the process as easy as possible, because the last thing anyone needs when they're already struggling is more bureaucracy. Next slide, please. So you can find us at 47 Cossyside Street in Paisley, and we're always happy to talk to anyone who wants to know more about what we do. again, you can reach us by phone, email, or through our website if you'd like more information or to make a referral. And we're trying to get our service out there and to reach all the areas that we're not reaching as well, like Linwood and Johnstone and Renfrew. So we're thinking of organizing presentations and workshops. So if you would like to create an event together or have some sort of collaboration, feel free to email me at my email account that's at the bottom, daniela.leonardi@youthfirstadvocacy.org. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniela. Michael's here from Renfrew Community Council. I'm sure that would be something they would be interested in, or perhaps I'm sure you could take it back and maybe be in contact. That was very interesting. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Daniela? Councillor Hughes, I knew you would have.
Not so much a question, but I suppose a comment from a professional point of view. People in the meeting will maybe know that my background in social care. I worked with people with forensic histories, people with mental health issues, and laterally with people with quite significant learning disabilities and also neurodivergence. So I spent quite a lot of time with advocates at various case countries and things, and I do think it is incredibly important because even people with the very best intentions and the highest thoughts of people have preconceived notions about what they need and what they think, and I think it's really helpful. So I do think if you have someone who's having a tough time and needing a bit of help with something, getting an advocate involved is often incredibly helpful. A bit of perspective rather than a question, but I think that professional perspective is quite important.
Thank you so much. This actually reminds me that I forgot to mention that we're also planning on providing some pop-up advocacy services in Renfrew as well. So again, if that's something that you think your organization might benefit from, feel free to shoot me an email and we can organize something together.
Okay, thank you very much, Daniela. I'm not seeing any other questions or comments, so thanks for coming along. You're welcome to.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, or just disappear if you want to. It's up to yourself.
I think I will head now, but thank you very much for having me tonight, and it's been great to meet you all.
Okay,
and
thank you.
I hope to see you around and to hear from you soon.
Okay, thanks, Daniela.
Thank you so much. Have a nice night.
Okay, next up we've got Lindsay Hepburn from the council, who's going to talk to us about the Robertson Park Pond project, and I hope some of the other projects going on in the park. Lindsay.
Yep, Councillor Shaw. So
you drew the short straw here.
Well, I wouldn't say that, Councillor Shaw. So I'm going to have a go at sharing the. It does say verbal update, but I've actually done just a very short presentation. The fireworks have started here now. I spoke to you soon, so apologies if you hear that in advance. Hopefully you can all hear me and it's clear. But any issues, just give me a shout. Councillor Shaw, this presentation focuses just on the pond improvement works.
Okay,
However,
okay.
Graham is here though, and we'll be able to take any questions at the end. We can have a discussion. If there's anything else we need to cover at the end, we can certainly pick that up at that point. Okay, so I shall try and share the slides. It just takes a wee minute to load up.
Yep, we can see that fine.
Perfect. So good evening, everyone, and thanks for inviting us to come along to provide an update on the Robertson Park Pond Improvement Project. My name is Lindsay Hepburn. I'm a Senior Manager at Renfrewshire Council. I have responsibility for the Council's frontline operational services. That includes neighbourhood services, which these pond works comes under, waste services and fleet services. And joining me is Graham Tennant. Graham is the team leader within neighbourhood services, and he is one of the lead officers for this project. Did that flip on to the next slide okay? Yep.
I did, yes.
Perfect. So a little bit about the pond's history. The pond within Robertson Park was established as part of the original development in October 1912. The park was created on land generously donated by William Robertson, a prominent local businessman, and the pond was included as a recreational amenity from the outset. There has been improvement works carried out within the pond previously. However, we estimate that the last major improvement works were carried out in the early 1990s. And it was around this time that a new liner was laid on the pond floor and the central island was created along with a small landing stage for model boats. As part of this project, the Neighbourhood Services team have assessed the pond's condition and identified areas that need addressed to help enhance and protect it. So one of the primary concerns raised by park users is the unnatural blue-green colouring of the water, which results from the use of non-toxic dye intended to inhibit algae growth. So although the dye poses no harm to humans, pets or wildlife, its appearance some alarm among visitors in the past. Additionally, over time, the island has become increasingly fragile and the perimeter edging cope has deteriorated, and there's a pressing need to replace it to maintain the pond's structural integrity and appeal. The pond also lacks a natural water source and relies solely on rainfall and requires manual monitoring and control of water levels. The pond's reliance on rainfall for water replenishment further complicates its maintenance, highlighting the importance of implementing sustainable solutions as part of the proposed improvement project. So, in considering the scope of works, the team have identified a number of improvements for the pond that are aimed at preserving the pond and enhancing its ecological function. Include the installation of aeration fountains, which would eliminate the need for chemical dye dosing by naturally inhibiting algae growth. Due to the specialised nature of these works, the Council's Technical Services team has been commissioned to develop a detailed specification and manage the tendering process for this. The improvements required also include pond maintenance and repairs. This includes draining and cleaning of the pond, stabilising the island edges, installing electrical connections and repairing or potentially replacing the edge copes and landing stage. In addition, an ecological survey has also been initiated to assess the potential impact of construction activities and the long-term presence of aeration fountains on the local wildlife. The findings of this survey will play a crucial role in shaping the final specification and determining the timing of the works. In relation to the investment and funding, the Council has committed a significant investment in this project. In March 2025, Renfrewshire Council allocated a dedicated budget of £80,000 for the improvement of the pond, and this financial commitment was further enhanced by a local area partnership grant of £28,000 awarded to the Renfrew Development Trust, bringing the total available funding to £108,000. So this investment reflects the recognition of the pond's significance as a community asset and its commitment to enhancing local amenities. However, I should flag, though, it's important to note that the scope of the proposed works is likely to exceed this available budget, particularly when considering high cost elements such as providing the electricity supply to the pond. And accurate cost estimations for these components does remain challenging, and prioritisation of works might be necessary to ensure the most critical improvements are addressed within the budget available. And in terms of timescales, the procurement process has begun for the ecological survey. This is required before other aspects of the project can progress in case there's anything we need to build into the development of the pond works specification. So for example, taking into consideration bird nesting season, etc. So this slide shows a photo of an example of a trumpet style aeration fountain and what the display might look like in use. This style of fountain is a compromise to maximise aeration and movement of water while still providing a visually appealing display. The water is sprayed approximately 1.7 metres high into the air and dispersed over a diameter of around 6 metres. And it's proposed that 2 of these fountains would be required, with one positioned centrally either side of the island. So I know that was very short, very short update, just really on the current position so far. However, it is our intention to come back with a further update to the group once we have a bit more information to share and we have further specifics, particularly around the timescales for delivery. We're happy to take any feedback or questions. I'll stop sharing that for now. Can go back to it if you like, but I'll stop sharing so I can see you all again.
Okay, thanks very much, Lindsay. Really pleased to see this moving, though I think the work was meant to be starting about now with the original estimation, so a bit disappointed to hear. Well, it sounds like it's been delayed a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been banging on about this for years. As you well know, it's the dye that they put into the pond to stop algae. People think is algae, and that's been the problem. And we've got major events in the park like the Food and Drink Festival and the pipe band, where we get the pipe band competition, where we get people coming from all across the country. In the case of the pipe band competition, and other countries as well. It's not a good look at all. So having the aeration fountains in there and having hopefully fairly clear water will be much better, along with the other improvements. I'm a wee bit concerned when you start talking about prioritisation, and as long as the fountains aren't going to get knocked down the list to somewhere in the deep distant future, can you confirm that's not going to be the case?
No, that obviously we want to do everything that's on that list, Councillor Shaw. That is the ambition of the service, and certainly that's the scope of works that we are currently looking at just now. Unfortunately, it has been delayed slightly. We're not as far ahead of in terms of where we would like to be, and that's in part due to the timing of the ecological survey. That takes some time to do, and it's something that we do have to do before we do anything else, really, because that has to inform the works that we will be carrying out. So we need to understand what the potential impact on local wildlife is of any works that we do there, to make sure that we're not doing anything to the detriment of the local wildlife. So that it's taken a bit longer than we had originally anticipated, but we are exploring everything that's on the list. I don't know if Graham, you want to come in and give a bit more. Graham is the lead officer for this. He is much more knowledgeable than me on this, because I'm sure as you probably know, but I'll maybe ask Graham to come in to see if he can provide a bit more information in terms of where we're at with the scope of works.
Okay.
Thanks, Lindsay. Thanks, Councillor Shaw. So as Lindsay had mentioned in the presentation there, we've engaged or commissioned the council's technical services to help with this because it's beyond our expertise for the electrical installation and the installation of the fountains in particular, and also the hard landscaping works. So that's at an advanced stage. So as soon as we have the results from the ecological survey, just to know how things might impact the birds, because you probably all know we've got swans that nest on the island, and we've got coots that regularly nest in the pond as well. So they're the things that we just need to be mindful of. But in terms of the project, the drawings have been created, the specifications at an advanced stage. We just need that final bit of information on the ecological survey, and then we can push forward with the procurement for the overall job.
And when do you think you'll have the ecological survey?
It should be with us by the end of this month.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, as I said, I have been since I started as a councillor. I've been trying to get something done about this, so it was great to be able to team up. I mean, the Development Trust applied for the grant funding, and I included, or we had some funding in the budget that I presented in February, March. That number, I think, came from you guys though, as to how much it would cost. Hopefully, it's not too far out. But I suppose we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, we will obviously try to do all of that in budget, but as we're obviously it's out with our technical expertise, councillor, so that's why we're relying on external technical experts to, especially with ecological survey and our in-house technical team as well. It's just to flag, it may be, we don't know for definite yet if that's the case, that we may need to look at prioritisation. It's just to flag that, you know, these things are expensive to do, but we're hoping we've included everything, so we are looking at doing everything that we've outlined there. Obviously, we want it to be as good as it can be as well, but you know, the costs fluctuate quite a bit. Everything's increasing. You know, we hope to manage the project within the current budget. It is a really significant investment. You know, it's great that we've managed to get that support in terms of the funding from the trust as well. So you know, we will try and make that stretch as far as we can possibly go with it.
Okay.
What we will do is we will keep you updated, the group updated, councillor. So, you know, although we're not really able to share much information at the moment in terms of, you know, it's just what we've updated on. But as soon as we have more information to share, we'll be happy to come back and give a further update, or just do that, you know, via yourself and give you more regular updates.
That's fine. I mean, if there are any issues, please let me know early. And you know, we can get you back here whenever. But I think it's an exciting project. And it'll make a huge difference to the pond. So we'll see how it goes. Michael.
Hi, sorry. Yeah, so just a quick question about the scope of work. So obviously that was put out to tender. Was it not normal procedure to also include the ecological survey at the same time that you're doing that tender process, if it's something that you're going to be working on in a green space?
I don't think it's been put out to tender yet. That's what they're saying, Michael. They're waiting for the ecological survey to then put it out to tender.
Yeah, we've done this. We've done our spec in terms of what we want, but we're just waiting on the ecological survey to come in and inform the last piece. And then once we've done that, is that? I mean, I'm talking, Graham. You're probably a better answer than that. I might be speaking out of turn, but I'll let you come in.
That's correct, Lindsay. Yeah. So the project, the main works for the project hasn't been tendered yet, but the specification has been prepared. So like Lindsay said, we're just waiting for that final piece in the puzzle, and then the work will be tendered.
Okay.
Hi, Graham. Stuart Well, Renfrew, Victoria here. I would just like a wee question over the power source you were talking about, trying to achieve. I've just finished a £300,000 renovation project at Kirtland, and we're totally powered by solar power. I was wondering if that was something you maybe consider rather than going down the expensive route of trying to get Scottish Power to turn out and dig and cause a bit of disruption, or is maybe the trees in the park restricting the sunlight?
It's a good point. I don't believe we have considered the solar option for this particular project. And I don't have all the details, but I think we can tie into existing power sources within the park, so we're not necessarily reliant on Scottish Power. So we'd potentially be digging the trench and all the rest of that, or you know, within this project and connecting into existing supply. But it's not confirmed yet. You know, so that before this meeting, the engineer who's dealing with it has been on holiday all week. So I only found out last minute that we would be attending this. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get all of the information. But that's my understanding at the moment, is that we're going to tie into an existing electrical supply that the council has access to.
I was just meaning the fact that it's obviously a wee bit outlay to begin with, but ongoing costs would be minimum when you're using the sunlight to power the place, because that's what we're doing at Kirtland, and we've got no outlay at all. Fortunate enough, the panels that are on the roof are facing the correct way, and we don't pay anything at all on our electricity costs because we've got solar power. We've got a couple of battery units that save the energy, which is something that maybe you hadn't thought of. It's certainly something that we would recommend from our experience.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much, Stuart. We'll certainly take note of that and include that within the options, you know, if we can, if it's not too late, Graham, maybe worth just exploring that. I'm not sure, I'm not an expert in that area either, Stuart, so I'm not sure, you know, in practice how that would work and what the, you know, the upfront costs of that would be, etc. But it's certainly something we can take note of and have a look. You know, it's always useful to have these other suggestions because we actually hadn't considered that. So thanks very much for that.
Graham, you can certainly come down and arrange a visit to Kirtland Newton. I can show you what we've done and maybe gives you a better understanding of what we're trying to propose.
Happy to do that. I'm guessing I haven't seen your setup, so I'm guessing that is this on the pavilion building? You've got all these panels on the pavilion building. Is that
that's
how it works? Yeah, that might be the sticking point for us, you know, in terms of, well, where do we place them?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you reach out, then happy to come and have a look.
Okay, Graham. Yeah.
Thanks, Stuart.
Everybody should get down to Kirtland Newton and have a look at Stuart's pavilion if they get a chance. An amazing job he's done.
Agreed.
There was a power pipe into. There is that. There was a power pipe into the park the last time when they done the drainage and all the resurfacing. I think that was 2017, and about then, because there wasn't any power before. That was a sticking point before then. So okay, see how it goes. I'm not seeing any other hands up. Anybody else get any questions or comments for Graham or Lindsay? Nope. Okay, well, thanks very much for coming, folks, and we look forward to hearing updates on the project.
Yep, thank you for having us, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Okay, next up we've got Kevin Milliken back for the second month in a row to give us the second meeting in a row to give us an update on where we are with the local place plan at the moment. Kevin.
Hello everyone. So just to give a brief short update on where we've been since the last meeting. Local place plan. So we've formed a steering group, and on it sits members of the community council, Broadlawn Gardens, and a few other groups, and then just individual residents of Renfrew. At the first meeting we had a couple of months ago, we set headings, and the headings were heritage and environment, housing and affordability, education, employment and local economy, including circular economy, community facilities and public buildings, and active travel infrastructure. We had our second steering group meeting last night in the town hall, and we've done slight amendments to our headings. So our headings are still heritage and environment. It's now affordable housing, education provision, employment and local economy, including the circular economy, community facilities and public spaces. So the public spaces will include parks in the area, and then just active travel infrastructure. With this month, this current status then of the development of the first Renfrew local place plan is the drafting has started. We're currently categorising the ideas and feedback of the community that's still coming in and is still live for people to do. We're categorising them under each of the headings. We're carrying out engagement with our elected members in Renfrew, and we are meeting regularly, and we've got a WhatsApp channel for the steering group. We've got a live survey now that covers everything in relation to local place plans. So any member of the Renfrew business ETC could go on and do that. So on our social media pages, and there will be available copies shortly in libraries, and I think there's some copies in the town hall. We have a Renfrew businesses survey, so for the local businesses to complete. That's out with them. It's online, and it's also there's paper copies being delivered to each business. You can either complete it in writing, but on and on the back of the survey there's a QR code, so they can complete the QR code. And we're about to issue a survey to the schools, and we're working with YMCA and targeting young people. The school survey is only 3 questions, and basically it's just because the local place plan takes into consideration a vision for Renfrew over the next 5 to 10 years. So this will be the generation that's currently going through our schools. So we plan to issue that in the next week or so to the head teachers, with the plan to we might visit some schools and do engagement. And I'm meeting with Andrew from YMCA soon to discuss how we can tap into the young people that use YMCA. And if there's any other groups in Renfrew that work with young people, we're happy to send the survey out and do a bit of engagement with them. It's basically what they would like to see in change, or their vision for Renfrew over the next 5 to 10 years, and we will incorporate it into one of the set categories. So we're at the drafting stage at the moment. The next we've got an event on the 26th of November. Trying to think what month it was there. 26th of November, we're having a heritage night in the Cherry Centre, and what it will be is Gillian will provide us the history of Renfrew, and then right after the heritage is finished, we'll go into a consultation and engagement event. So we've had the history of Renfrew, and then we'll be turning it to look to the next 5 to 10 years, the future of what Renfrew can be. And there'll be tea and coffee and there'll be cakes available. So it's on the 26th of November. It will go on our social media pages shortly. We're just confirming a time for that. And then we're using the month of November to draft. We've covered, last night we covered heritage and environment. We covered housing and affordability, or we rephrased it to affordable housing. Affordable housing is not a big one for Renfrew because there isn't much land left for houses. And we covered educational provision, so we're going to have a meeting in a couple of weeks to go through the other headings like employment, local economy, community facilities and public space, and active travel. But heritage and environment is a big one for, and will be an important one for our local place plan. Obviously we've got the Renfrew Police Station in Victory Bass, which people are very passionate about, but we've also got an ancient woodland at the top of Renfrew near the Normandy, Blythewood Woods. So there's a lot of focus around that, and that will feature quite heavily in the local place plan. And then just on infrastructure and that. So that's what I have at the moment. If anyone's got any questions.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Busy.
Always.
Does anybody have any questions or comments for Kevin? No one? Lisa Marie?
I would only have very positive comments to say. I think it's really exciting. The Development Trust are obviously doing really good work in leading this. I've been watching you pop up all over Renfrew, sometimes in very rainy or windy days, Kevin, and you're really going out to people to meet them where they are, and I think that's really important when we're trying to get people's opinions. They're much more likely to come and talk to you if you happen to be in a corner of the park in a tent. And they can just talk to you and pass by, and I can't wait to see what comes out.
Good stuff. Okay, thanks very much, Kevin. No doubt we'll have you back. When does it have to be submitted by?
So we are looking at, we forgot to mention that, but we're hopefully finishing the drafting by mid-January. That factors in the Christmas period. And then there's a statutory engagement consultation period that's got to take place, and it's 28 days. So we're going to use the month of February for that because it's 28 days. And then final drafting from the amendments from statutory consultation, we'll do them, and hopefully by mid-March we'll have like a completed document. It's got to be submitted by the 31st of March 26 to be considered. So we are working to quite tight timescales.
Okay. Well, no doubt we'll have you back to talk about it again in the very near future. Thanks, Kevin. Next item on the agenda is the timetable of meetings for Renfrew Local Partnership in 2026. These are just essentially the same dates that we have every year, apart from May, which is slightly later due to the Scottish parliamentary elections taking place next year. So we've got to delay it until afterwards. We can't, due to the purdah period that takes place before elections, we can't make decisions in funding and stuff like that in that period. So the meeting will be delayed into May. So that'll be the funding meeting next year. Does anybody have any questions or comments to that? It'll be okay to just agree the dates. Okay. And that's us. Next meeting is 2026, 11th of February. Thanks, folks.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.